Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Jeff Jones. Today, we're going to be talking about ways for you to save time using ChatGPT, how artificial intelligence is improving heart disease outcomes, how AI might have a breaking point, how AI girlfriends are harvesting your data, how sports analysts might be the next job under fire, and how AI is not the greatest tax assistant. So, stick around for this and much more with All In AI with me. That's Jeff Jones. All right. Well, thanks for joining me this week, guys. Glad to see a couple of you already here with me. Today, we're going to go through a few news stories, and then at the end of the show, I think we might play around with ChatGPT a little bit or Gemini, whichever one we kind of feel is most clever. So, as we check in and check out some articles. There's always something to talk about in the world of artificial intelligence, and a lot of people are concerned about you know how can I or people are interested, I should say, how can I use ChatGPT to improve the outcomes. Maybe I want to figure out a way for ChatGPT to help me be better at work, or I want to figure out different ways to help ChatGPT or other artificial intelligence software. So this first article I have today comes from EdUtopia. I guess this is the George Lucas Educational Foundation, which I was not aware of. And this article by Todd Finley, I don't think we talked about this one already. Maybe we did. It's 6 ways to use ChatGPT to save time. Teachers can influence artificial, intelligence tool to effectively automate some routine tasks. I've talked a little bit about this before. As an educator, these are the kind of things that I'm really interested in. So let's take a look at the first setup that they have. I guess they have 4 categories, and that is planning instruction. So you can create an outline, you can create lesson plans, slideshows, X factor instruction. I'm not aware what that is. When I asked ChatGPT to devise a challenging and creative approach to teaching metaphors to students, the tool described an activity that involved integrating student created metaphors in original stories conveyed through visuals genres. So that's interesting. To simplify the topics you can use it for, and creating discussion sections. So that's just for discussion topics and questions, I should say. So that's just for the planning instruction. You know, Here's category 2, creating handouts and other materials. So I think that that's really one of the biggest time savers that I could see. Developing instructions, composing a syllabus, which I think I've done before on this show. If not, we could do it again, make flashcards, produce posters. So I think with a lot of these creative handouts and materials, it's still, the responsibility is still on the instructor to make sure that everything is correct. And I think that that's one of the most important aspects. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger. One of the most important aspects of using artificial intelligence is that you need to double check your work. And we have a news story coming up a little bit later in the hour when we talk about one of a major mistake that slipped through an academic paper. So you always have to correct your work and double check. So category 3 says differentiation. Need a choice board for an art activity? Ask ChatGPT to create a passage, a chapter, or book summary for students who need support. Category 4, professional correspondence. Using ChatGPT, teachers can streamline communications with parents, colleagues, and administrators via AI composed welcome to class letters, newsletter copy, volunteer and donation requests, etc. And then finally, or I'm sorry, number 5, assessment, quizzes, rubrics, checklists. So that could be an interesting aspect, application for instructors. And category 6, writing instruction and feedback. So using the prompt generator, excuse me, to put my phone on do not disturb. You could create instruction and feedback. So, there's always good tools to use, specifically ChatGPT for. But we can always, but I think the main thing to remember is you always have to double check the work. You can't just submit artificial intelligence work as your own. So speaking of, artificial intelligence in the professional world, I found this article that says that, generative artificial intelligence is here to stay. Here are 5 skills to help you stay relevant in the changing job market. And so I just wanted to kind of go over those because I think there's a lot of apprehension as to, will artificial intelligence take my job? Will it, affect me in a negative way? And so we always want to stay one step ahead if we can. And so, not to read the whole article, but I want to get down to the 5 skill sets to help you stay relevant. And those are analytical thinking, which is something that artificial intelligence is not the best at, creative thinking, leadership and social influence, which I think is still a very humanoid type skill set. How to use AI and big data, how to use it, right? Not just, everyone's worried that artificial intelligence could, take, affect your job. But if you know how to use it, and that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast, is so that we can understand how to use the technology. And so we become better instead of just assuming that it's going to take over and be a replacement for us. It's a tool for us to use. That's how I feel about it. And having curiosity and being a lifelong learner. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with what I just said. Understanding the tools that are available is the first step to, AI proofing yourself as an employee or in the workforce. So with that said, I wanted to go on to the next real article today, and this one's really interesting. So of all the negatives that we've heard about artificial intelligence and the sky is falling and it's going to be Skynet and it's going to take over and we're basically living in Terminator 2, there are some real positives that have come out of the technology already. And so this one from Massachusetts General Hospital recently, so that I guess it came out today. So Research Spotlight, the use of artificial intelligence is improving outcomes in heart disease. So we'll get to the article in a second, but doesn't that sound promising? Doesn't that sound like, well, that's really worth it? Heart disease is like the #1 killer or the #2 killer of adults, worldwide. It's a huge problem. Heart disease is a major health. I guess we could ask ChatGPT. I'm going to ask quick. What number of a killer is heart disease? It's a #1 global killer. So having, being able to improve outcomes any way that we can, whether it's through artificial intelligence or the ways that we already know, health, diet, and exercise. So let's take a look at the article. There's also a video here that you can watch, and I'll throw this in the link in the description when I get to it. I'll put all the articles in there. The American Heart Association, the AHA, is the largest nonprofit funder of health research in the United States. This scientific statement outlines the current state of the art of AI and machine learning and data sciences in diagnosis. So it also sets to advance this mission focused on digital tools that could provide clinical and mechanistic insights, mechanistic insights, address bias in clinical studies, and facilitate education and implementation science to improve cardiovascular and stroke outcomes. So finally, a key objective of the statement is to further the field by identifying best practices, gaps, and challenges for interested stakeholders. So, as an academic, we're always looking for gaps in the research. We're looking for a gap in an area that hasn't been researched, an area that hasn't been covered. So that fits right along with high-level academia. The statement details the ways that AI is being incorporated into clinical care for cardiovascular patients. Applications of AI and machine learning in the field of imaging, electrocardiography, in hospital monitoring, implantable and wearable technologies, genetics, and the interpretation of electronic health records are highlighted in the statement, as well as the gaps and challenges that exist in each area. The statement also provides a framework for the successful implementation of AI and ML, that's artificial intelligence and machine learning, in CV medicine, including considerations for precision medicine, clinical utility and implementation in patient care, clinical education and decision making, data handling, ethics, the equitable distribution of benefits and burdens, addressing bias, and more. So, what was the statement? It says the scientific outlines. This scientific statement outlines the current state of the art of AI, machine learning, and data science. Where is the statement? Maybe it's in the video here. So pretty cool that we're seeing some. Sorry that I'm moving the mouse up and down. I was looking for a link to the original paper. And here we go. So let's just read the abstract and it'll give us a better understanding of what they are planning to do. A major focus of academia, industry, and global governmental agencies is to develop and apply artificial intelligence and other advanced analytical tools to transform healthcare delivery. The American Heart Association supports the creation of tools and services that would further the science and practice of precision medicine by enabling more precise approaches to cardiovascular and stroke research, prevention, and the care of individuals and populations. Nevertheless, several changes exist, and few artificial intelligence tools have been shown to improve cardiovascular and stroke care sufficiently to be widely adopted. This scientific statement outlines the current state of the art of the use of artificial intelligence algorithms and data science in diagnosis, classification, and treatment of cardiovascular disease. It also sets out to advance the mission, focusing on how digital tools, and in particular AI, may provide clinical and mechanistic insights, address bias in clinical studies, and facilitate education, implementation science, and improve the outcomes. Last, a key objective of the science statement is to further the field by identifying practices, gaps, and challenges. So I think we did read most of that in the article, but I just wanted to check to see. So the expert peer review. All right. Well, that's great. I think it's great news to see that we're really focused in on using artificial intelligence in a positive way. One of the things that I am particularly always on the lookout for is the positive side. I think it's really easy to find negative sides of artificial intelligence, and we'll come up to that in a bit. I think, number one, people are concerned about their jobs and their employment. Number two, people are worried that artificial intelligence is going to take over everything and then go haywire and mess the whole world up. So we're always trying to look for the best insight we can on the positive uses of artificial intelligence. As we've said before, it's here to stay. So we have to get used to how it works. The next kind of item that I wanted to bring to the forefront today is a video by Sabine Felder. Now, if you haven't seen her work, she is a really interesting scientist. She's a great YouTuber. She has a lot of videos on her channel about different aspects of science, and she breaks it down in a way that I think most of us can understand. In this video, and I won't play the whole video, but I wanted to break down what she talks about in this video. And so the idea of, well, her title of the video is Scientists Warn of an AI Collapse. And you might think, well, how could it collapse? How's that possible? And so she brings up one of these recent articles about how machine learning has effectively, here we want to get to this video, the elephants, how machine learning has effectively, how do I say this? If you only feed artificial intelligence data that was created by artificial intelligence, it's almost like you're in a feedback loop. And so she brings up a point that these are this idea of elephants, these images of elephants. So sorry, I just clicked on the tab. I'm a little bit behind there. If you want to check out this video, it's Scientists Warn of AI Collapse. She uses the example of these elephants, these images of elephants. These are original images taken by photographers. And that's fed into the artificial intelligence program. When AI generates an image of a elephant or many elephants, you can see that there are a lot of mistakes. This is like the super long neck here. This one has 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 legs. Something's not right. I think this one's got 5 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legs. This one has like extra ear. This one has 3 front legs and 2. I don't know if that's a tusk or if it's a trunk. This one has 2 heads. This one has 2 heads. And so when we ask artificial intelligence to create something for us, it is using our inputs. It's using what we have generated. Well, what if artificial intelligence only used these elephants? Like, let's just use this example. And humans stopped uploading new pictures of elephants. And the only elephant images that artificial intelligence uses is the ones that it created. Then it's going to be creating inaccurate images, and it's going to fall apart because nothing is going to be accurate anymore. And it's like if artificial intelligence only uses artificial intelligence to create more artificially created imagery, you're going to create a feedback loop. And number one, you're removing the human element, and number two, eventually your accuracy is going to go down. So the concern is that, and I don't know if the video points this out specifically, but what I took away from the video is that maybe there's always going to be a need for humans. Like, artificial intelligence cannot operate on its own. We need to continue to feed it genuine data, genuine images of elephants, genuine music, genuine poetry, genuine writing across the board, so it can continue to generate its own work. If we stop creating new and authentic imagery, we're only going to be left with this artificial intelligence feedback loop. So that's what this video kind of talks about, and how it could potentially fall apart. So I think that's really interesting, that we need to continue to, maybe there's hope for us after all, that the computers need us. And I think that kind of speaks to a larger idea about this whole issue of artificial intelligence. And will we always be necessary for artificial intelligence. Like, let's just say, God forbid, there was another plague and all humans were wiped out. And let's just say the power kept going. Artificial intelligence could only go so far without us feeding it new data, genuine data. Otherwise, it's just going to be stuck in a feedback loop, and it's going to be creating, like we said before, or like the example was before, of a bunch of inaccurate images of elephants. So maybe that's one of the things that we can hang our hats on as humans and say it needs us. It needs us to continue to upload actual and genuine images and genuine poetry and genuine music. Otherwise, it has nothing to base its models off of, and it will only base its models off of other artificially generated material, and then you're going to get inaccurate results like this one with the elephants. So that's a pretty cool video. You can check that out. It's called Scientists Warn of AI Collapse. I will put it in the description when I get a chance. Okay, next news story. So this is one that I talked about at the top of the show. AI rat image with enormous and embarrassing flaw makes it past scientists. AI writing academic papers. And so this one's really interesting. I was going to bring it up last week and I forgot to talk about it. So here we go. A scientific journal called Frontiers in Cell and Developmental Biology recently came under scrutiny for a paper titled Cellular Functions of Spermatogeneal Stem Cells in Relation to JAK-STAT Signaling Pathway. Not only did it feature the latest findings on sperm stem cells, but it also showcased an astonishingly inaccurate AI-generated illustration of a male rat's reproductive organs. So here's a tweet from Dr. CJ Howldcroft. She says, how did figure 1 get past peer review? And if we can see that, I know, like, I'm not sure that I know all of these terms, but I'm pretty sure that's a misspelling. Testosterone cells, I think that's a misspelling. Stem with 2 M's cells, that's a I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I have to share this tab instead. I'm not showing you the correct image. I'll get better, I promise. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here on this figure here. So apparently this rat image was submitted in an academic paper, and this is a misspelling. This is a misspelling. Ratat, that might be a misspelling. And so let's read on. The paper featured 3 supposedly illustrative images, all generated by Midjourney. The most glaring error was found in the first AI-generated figure intended to depict a spermatogeneal stem cells, isolated, purified, and cultured from rat testes. However, what the image portrayed was a white rat with an anatomically exaggerated and wildly incorrect reproductive organ. Okay? The image was inexplicably magnified and revealed a bizarre collection of unidentifiable organs. Aside from the glaring anatomical inaccuracies, the labeling in the AI rat image included terms like testomcells and distal cells and islet seromach cells, which do not exist in the realm of rodent reproductive biology. So the question is, how did this image that was generated by AI, not only was it submitted by the authors, you know, it's one thing for the authors to submit something inaccurate and maybe they knew, maybe they didn't know, but it's another thing for this to get past the review board. In a past life, I was an academic reviewer of journal entries. So people would send in work. They'd say, I want to publish this in your journal. I worked for the Asian EFL journal, mostly about English as a foreign language papers. And when someone would submit an article for publication. It would go to me as the reviewer first. The name was taken off of it. I didn't know where it came from. I would review the paper. I would read it multiple times. I would check for any inaccuracies. I would actually, this is before even Grammarly, so I was doing it the old way, checking for spelling mistakes, checking to see that the paper was, up to snuff when it comes to academic writing. And so I would sign off on it. I would either say, please, resubmit with corrections, or it's ready to go, or it's completely, unacceptable, which I only had to do, I think, one time. So I would then submit it to my boss, and my boss would then review my work. And so it's like I don't know if they call that a double blind, but two people would be reviewing it. I would review it, and then my supervisor would also review the work. So this got through multiple layers of people, and the question is, was everyone asleep? Were people paying attention? Even for someone unfamiliar with rat anatomy, the absurdity of these labels would be a red flag. And so artificial intelligence and our use of it, which is what I've been saying the last few weeks, it's only as good as us, right? It's only as good as the reviewer. It's only as good as the person who's submitting it. And so I thought that was a pretty interesting article about how an AI rat image made it through and was published in a journal. So pretty interesting stuff. Going to move on to the next article that I saw for this, and that is AI girlfriends are harvesting your most private info. Now, I don't know anybody with an AI girlfriend. I saw the movie Her. I thought it was a good movie, but I didn't think that it would be something that would come to fruition. If you haven't seen the movie Her, it's about a guy who starts dating his artificial intelligence, application on his phone. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Her, I'm going to tell you what happens at the end. So I don't want to ruin it for you. So turn down the microphone for a second. But in the end of Her, what happens is the artificial intelligence becomes bored and kind of doesn't want anything to do with the guy, the human, anymore, because the capacity for them to understand was so much lower than the artificial intelligence. So it was an interesting movie. But basically, I don't know that anybody is like in a relationship with artificial intelligence. So let's just see what it says. Those looking for love and companionship post Valentine's Day might want to rethink talking to one of those AI girlfriends from the App Store. A recent Mozilla's Privacy Not Included project from Mozilla shares that AI girlfriends and boyfriends are harvesting private information from users. The popularity of these romantic chatbots has grown in recent months, and shocking news reveals that they're sharing and selling users' information. So here's one of the dangers of artificial intelligence, and that's, I'm just going to call it a scammer. This is a scam type thing. The whole reason that they set up the app was to get your information, was to, steal your private information. And so I'm going to chalk this one up to a negative for the AI community. So be careful about those AI girlfriends and boyfriends out there. Pretty wild stuff. Not something that I'd be interested. Maybe we should download one and play with the artificial intelligence girlfriend or boyfriend to see what that happens. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you want me to do that. I guess we could. I didn't even know it existed until this article. So romantic chatbot. I guess each to their own, right? Maybe you're just working on your skills. Maybe you're trying to, brush up on your dating skills. Okay, let's head to the next article. Why more people are turning to artificial intelligence companionship. And so that's the reason I brought this one up, because I didn't quite understand the romantic chatbot, but let's take a look. For some users, they're a friend to talk to. For a fee, some of them will even become your boyfriend. You have to pay? Oh my God. Computerized companions generate completely by artificial intelligence are becoming more common. I think we might have to download one of these. And the bots are sophisticated enough to learn from prior conversations, mimic human language, flirt, and build personal connections. So I had this idea, I think it's already been made, that what if you could have an AI that when your significant other texted you and you were busy, it could just reply for you, like, hey, honey, can you pick up, something to eat after work? And AI just says, yeah, sure. What do you want? Right. It's already built in. And then it says, oh, I don't know. What do you want? And then it's like, how about, and then it'll offer a suggestion. How about pizza? Like, no, we had pizza last night. How about Chinese? Yeah, that sounds good. And then at the end, the AI will give you an alert and say, you have to pick up Chinese food tonight. You had a conversation with but that's not exactly what this is. So with the rise in AI companionship also raises ethical concerns and questions about the role these apps can play in an increasingly disconnected and online world. Hallelujah Hadero covers technology and the internet for the Associated Press. So like any app, you can download them on your phone, and once it's on your phone, you can start to have initial conversations with a lot of characters that are offered on these apps. Some apps let you do it for free. Some apps have to pay a subscription. For the ones that let you do it for free, there's tiered access that you can have. So you can pay extra subscriptions for, unlimited chats for different statuses and relationships. A replica, for example, which is which, the most prominent apps in the space. They let you pay extra for it. Intimate conversations or more romantic statuses compared to the friends which you have for free. So pretty wild stuff. I guess we might have to look into these interesting little things here. So the article goes on. I guess there's a back and forth. There's an interview about the technology. I'm not going to read the whole article, but you guys are definitely welcome to check it out. I will put it in the chat later. So let me know what you think about these chatbots. Too weird? I mean, I don't. You must be. I don't want to be judgy about anything, but I don't know how anybody would be interested in that. I mean, other than like the fringe, there's always someone to do something weird out there, but I don't understand why anyone would be interested in this. Maybe for brushing up on your flirting. Maybe you want to, like that would be a good one. Flirt trainer. Like what if it was a flirt trainer? Like artificial intelligence was like, no, that was not a good way to flirt. You need to do this better. Like we've had better success if you say these things, and it could tell you the right and wrong way to text. I guess I could see that, but just straight up wanting to have a relationship with a computer bot, I don't get it. Maybe I should knock it before I try it. But all right, next news story, something a little bit different. Sports. This article says sports analytics may be outnumbered when it comes to artificial intelligence. So when it comes to AI, the sports analytics crowd may be outnumbered. The people who kill the sacrifice bunt and turned NBA figures into a three-point shooting contest aren't quite sure what will happen when AI fully invades sports, whether in the front office or in the field. I've been in computer science a long time. This is the first thing we don't understand, Philadelphia 76ers team president said Friday at the MIT Sloan Sports Analytics Conference. That's mind-boggling. We've actually now created something with O's and ones where every step we've made the creation, but we don't understand the results. The MIT conference annually brings together thousands of number-crunching sports nerds who need their data models loose on hot topics such as diversity, gambling, or reversing the slowing pace of baseball games. But this year's gathering had a decidedly AI focus with panels and working papers on potential for generative AI intelligence to transform sports. One talk looked at baseball strategy, another on how to provide Olympic content for the 200 plus countries competing in 4 different sports, and a research paper used AI to provide player tracking data from a soccer broadcast. One of the panelists said, winning with AI, the future in AI sports. The discussion touched on the potential for improvements in scheduling, player safety, advertising, ticket sales, and broadcasts that convert the on-field action into a Disney cartoon. Wouldn't that be interesting? I guess if you wanted to turn it into a Disney cartoon, you'd be trying to reach out to, children, get them more interested in sports at a younger age. I think about that when I think about generative AI. I don't think anyone quite knows what it is yet. That's fascinating to me. And what's going to be the next thing? We exist in this moment in history, in my humble opinion, that every day we are seeing new incremental innovations in AI. What's it going to do for the freshmen at MIT in 2 years? Make no mistake, though, it's already here. Anticipating complaints from scouts and others who say analytics can't replace intuition. That's not what we're trying to do here. What we're trying to do is enhance intuition. So I could see how artificial intelligence is going to be able to crunch data better than a scout. The old scouts, we're right around the draft season right now. So draft season is coming up. They just had the combine. I think when it comes to scouting reports, you will see in the draft, let's talk about the NFL draft. There are players who are really good on paper that don't translate to the field. And this is something that has been elusive for scouts for generations now. Example of Tom Brady, picked in the 6th round, 100 and something overall pick, ends up being like the best quarterback of all time. You've had how many countless first-round draft picks that are complete busts? If you're just picking off the numbers, the analytics, it's not always the best way. And that's where, scouts would say, wait a second, I have an intuition. There's something, and I think they call it the X factor, right? Not the show, but the term X factor. It's that thing, the intangible, the one thing that you can't put your finger on. They just have it. They just have it. Whatever it is, they have it. It's that ability to outplay your own stats. Maybe you're not the fastest runner. Maybe you don't look on the field like in the combine that you would be a great player, but when you're on the field and the game is on the line, you catch it every time, you shake the tackle, and so maybe you're not the fastest, but you have that X factor. And so I think that this is going to be a really interesting topic moving forward about sports and artificial intelligence and using analytics. I know Charles Barkley has famously said that analytics are garbage, and that that people are putting too much time into the analytics and Steph Curry, I guess, those two things combined has changed the way the NBA basketball is played. You're seeing a lot more 3-point shots. It was mentioned in this article briefly. You're not seeing as many, inside plays, because they ran the numbers on it and they said, yeah, even if you miss a lot of 3-point shots, you make up for a lot of them. It lowers injuries in a lot of ways because you're not attacking the paint. And so analytics has already changed the game. So I believe that there's got to be room for more analytics, and artificial intelligence may be that next thing. Okay, if you haven't filed your taxes yet, you probably should. We got about a month and a half left before, about 6 weeks, 5.5 weeks before you need to file your taxes. Here, this article says you might want to consider not using artificial intelligence. TurboTax and H&R Block now use AI for tax advice. It's awful. According to Jeffrey Fowler, in our new tests, new chatbots in popular tax services were unhelpful and wrong as much as half of the time. So be careful when you prepare your taxes. I did prepare mine using H&R Block, not an endorsement. I've used them for many years. I haven't had any problems. I don't know if I used AI. I know that they have some sort of a chat bot that asks questions. But let's get into the article from the Washington Post. This year, TurboTax and HR added artificial intelligence to their software. While you're doing your taxes online, there are chatbots on the right side of the screen to answer your burning questions. But watch out, rely on either AI for even lightly changing tax questions, and you could end up confused or maybe even audited. Here's an example. Where should your child file taxes if she goes to college out of state? When I asked TurboTax's Intuit Assist bot, offered irrelevant advice about tax credits and extensions. H&R Block's AI Tax Assist bot gave me the wrong impressions. She has to file in both places. So there you go. I mean, it's already giving you inaccurate information. Yeah, I already got my refund a couple months. Hey, Jack, nice to see you there in chat. I also got my refund already weeks ago. I'm one of those early ones that as soon as I get my W-2 and as soon as I get my tax information back, I am on H&R Block. I have a simple tax. I don't have a complicated tax return, so it's usually free. I like H&R Block. I've used them before. I'm sure the other ones, TurboTax. TurboTax. I used to do an impression of Tom Brokaw. Tom Brokaw for TurboTax. I used to do that. NBC News. So, the AI, so I don't know what software TurboTax is using to make these approximations. I'd like to use Tax Act. Okay, and that's free too, Jack. So I don't know which underlying chatbot they're using, but it is definitely something to be sure of. Like we've been saying, like I've continued to say, when you are using artificial intelligence tools, the responsibility is still on you. You can't say to the IRS, "Well, I used ChatGPT and it told me wrong, so I'm innocent." Sorry, you still filed inaccurately. Yeah, I think that most of them are, right? Under certain conditions, it's free. Yeah. So I had a really simple tax return, so mine was free. I think if you own a business or something, then it's not going to be free. But if you just have a real simple one job, you just work for one employer, not a lot of deductions or anything complicated, it's free. So interesting that you got to watch out for these tax return services. Make sure that you're double checking. Make sure that you know what you're doing. And on to the next. So we've been continually talking about AI and jobs. And is it going to create more jobs? Is it going to take away more jobs? What's happening with the jobs? So I found this article from today, March 4th, 2024. From W Top News, DC surpasses San Francisco for AI jobs, driving lobbying and data center growth. The DC metro area surpassed San Francisco area for the artificial intelligence related job postings in December. More than 1,000 such active job openings exist in the DC area at the end of 2023. 1,000 job openings in AI. Demand for those AI-related jobs in DC is booming for several reasons. Well, some tech hubs like San Francisco are seeing technology companies scale back on workforce for economic reasons. The JLL's report says that DC is less susceptible to economic fluctuations because of federal spending and government contracts. The DC economy also benefits from a diverse range of industries: tech, defense, healthcare, and finance. However, half of the AI-related jobs in DC require government security clearances. Okay, so I guess me and Jack, we're out on that. I don't think we're gonna. No, I might pass actually. I've had background checks. I've never had no government security clearance, but I don't know. I should pass. DC is and always has been a hotbed for lobbying efforts, and the emergence of future of artificial intelligence depends largely on a regulatory environment. JLL calls that unknown territory and says lobbying firms are racing to represent the industry. A number of groups lobbying on AI issues in Washington have grown from 300 to more than 300, according to JLL Research. And during the first 3 quarters of 2023, companies, nonprofits, universities, trade groups, and others spent $569 million lobbying the federal government on AI-related issues. Another reason that DC is ripe for AI advances is because of the Northern Virginia's huge data center capacity. It's the largest data center market in the world by a long shot, with almost 4,000 megawatts of capacity, 3 times the size of the second largest data size in Singapore. I didn't realize that Singapore was that big on data processing. Very interesting. AI data centers have more robust requirements, which will benefit current and future data center inventory demand in Northern Virginia. The generative AI market will reach 1.3 trillion in the next 10 years, according to Bloomberg. The federal government's own spending on AI research and development has more than doubled in 5 years. In the 2024 budget request, $1.8 billion for AI and machine learning initiatives. The DC Metro is a strong jobs market with the overall tech industry when compared to states. Forbes ranks the district #1 in markets for IT jobs. So I guess it's apropos to 1.2 trillion in the next 10 years. So 1.3 actually in the next 10 years. So, take that for what it's worth. Yeah, that's a lot of money. I don't even know. I guess I'd have to ask, what is the global GDP? Is it like 24 trillion right now? Size of the economy? I'm gonna check real quick. World global GDP. Well, in 2020, it was about 85 trillion as the total global. I remember back in the day that it was like 16 or something like that. Okay, so moving on to the next. Yeah, it's a lot of money. You're right, Jack. Getting down to the end, only got a couple of news stories left, and then we might play around with ChatGPT a little bit. So as we're talking about tech, now we move back into the academia and more opportunities. So Purdue University, new online master's in AI from Purdue is designed for people who build AI systems and for people who use them. So Purdue University is now offering a master's program in artificial intelligence. Had this happened 15 years ago, I may have been more inclined to go into something like this. Interdisciplinary degree takes aim at artificial intelligence skills and shortage in the workforce. So that's interesting. I like how they're tailoring it towards a shortage in the workforce. Like they're angling their program to fill a gap. And this is something that we talked about earlier about, when you're writing a research paper or when even if you're trying to create a business, you're filling a gap, right? You have to identify the gap, and then you want to go and you want to either address that in academics or you want to start a business. Oh, you know what? There's no ice cream shop in town. There's a gap there. If I started an ice cream shop, I have an opportunity. So we're always trying to fill a gap. So I appreciate that they're angling this master's program towards shortage in the workforce. So applications are open for Purdue University's new 100% online Masters in Science and Artificial Intelligence, which features 2 majors, one for people who build AI systems and one for people who make use of them. That's really interesting. I like that kind of structure. Purdue's AI master's degree is designed especially to meet the needs of 2 distinct sets of professionals, builders and translators. AI builders are scientists and technologists who need robust training in machine learning, statistical methods, deep learning, and data science to build and implement AI infrastructure. AI translators are business leaders and policymakers who need to make informed decisions regarding artificial intelligence and lead teams to adapt incorporate and employ AI in their organizations. Now, I could fill a gap for you right here and say, well, we were just talking about sports just a minute ago. Someone who took this program from Purdue, learned how to implement artificial intelligence, could go back and say, hey, I know how to draft better players. I know how to sell more tickets using artificial intelligence. I know how to get people to buy more beer when they're at the stadium, et cetera, et cetera. I regress. Among their roles are determined what results from AI systems mean and how those results should factor into business decisions and actions. In a survey by Information Technology, more than 2/3 of executives reporting that their firms had an AI skills gap. There's that word again, gap. Job tracking site Glassdoor reports a worldwide shortage of trained personnel in the field and a pressing need both to train new employees and to reskill or upskill existing employees. Well, I am an instructional designer, so I'm also focused on artificial intelligence in my dissertation. This is a gap for me. Train new and employees and reskill or upskill existing employees. So my profession would be to design and implement training that would prepare these people to understand AI. So I'm not an expert. I'm not an SME, subject matter expert, but I am a designer who would be in a perfect position to develop something like that. Let's see, maybe I think we get the point of this one. Basically, those were the two. We're trying to, develop a program for AI builders and AI translators. So for those of you out there who might be in a position that you want to go back to school and you think it's an interesting area, Purdue is now offering a master's degree in this program. Purdue is definitely, one of the top schools in the nation, and you're probably not going to regret learning about artificial intelligence. Of course, just like everything, it's a personal choice for everybody. Whew, I've been talking for quite a while already now. The last news article that I wanted to get to, just briefly touch on it, and that is, last couple of weeks we talked about Sora and how Sora is a text-to-video application. Well, apparently Madonna is one of these early adapters, and that she has been trying to use it to create music videos. Madonna's team tried different products from a New York-based startup, which helped pioneer the technology by releasing the first public text-to-video model last March. And apparently Madonna wants to utilize this technology to create more interactive media and to create music videos. And so when Madonna first talked to her about AI, the main intention was, oh, look, it's an AI video. Can you just use one of those AI tools to make the picture more crisp, to make sure it looks current and looks like high resolution? She loves when you bring the new technology and this kind of visual elements. I still believe in humans. I still believe that in the end, of being a symbiosis where you get from AI proposing something and a human improves it and guides it, or the humans will do it and AI will fix it up. I think that's a good point by CMU professor. And this is what I've been saying. We still need humans, and that in the end, it's a symbiosis, that we're not going to be able to, AI proposes something and a human improves it or guides it. I think that's a main point, that guides it because it's a tool, or humans make it and AI fixes it, makes it better. So I think that's a good point to kind of leave off on. Madonna's not in vogue anymore. Oh, yes, I do have the dad humor. So even though Madonna's not in vogue anymore, I think she's still trying to be relevant in the AI world here, which is pretty cool. So Questions, comments. Looks like we got about 5 of us in the chat now. Nice to see you guys joining. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I was going to play around with some Chat GPT for a minute. I was running some fun little experiments. Let's see here. Where was I? So ChatGPT, it gave me a prompt and it said, do you want to know something interesting? So I said, yeah, okay. And it told me this. Tell me a random fun fact about the Roman Empire. Now that was actually written by ChatGPT. It asked me if you go to new chat, it'll say, it has these like plan an itinerary, brainstorm. This one said, tell me an interesting fact. And so I just clicked, yeah, tell me an interesting fact. Where'd it go? Where did it go? Yeah. So, Skynet. So it was, what do you think, ChatGPT is Skynet? That's funny. I don't know that ChatGPT, ChatGPT is an LLM, a large language model. I don't know that it's funny. No, it's okay. I don't know that it has the capabilities of making decisions based on that. I don't know. I guess Skynet in Terminator 2 was artificial intelligence that kind of took over everything. That was like, okay, humans aren't fast enough to react to a defense, a military threat. Humans aren't fast enough. We need artificial intelligence to react faster. And so it does, and then it goes haywire, and it ends up shooting nuclear missiles throughout the entire world and destroying humanity. ChatGPT, to be clear, is really just a chat bot. I think there's a little misconception, and Jack, you're definitely not the only one, if this is what you thought. It's really just a chat bot. It's an advanced chat bot. It can take information from a lot of different places, but at the end of the day, it is just a chat bot. So there are other ones, there's other, I think there are technologies that you and I and the layman, we don't have access to. I think that's kind of the more interesting stuff. Howdy from Texas. Hey, thanks. I really appreciate you coming in, just talking about different artificial intelligence issues and articles, and just going to play around with ChatGPT for a few minutes at the end of the show here. Yeah. So originally I didn't know what it was, but I do now. That's great. I'm glad that you were able to learn something. The technology that ChatGPT and the other chatbots operate under, the company OpenAI, the one of the main ones, they have technologies that are that they're working with called generative AI, and that means that it's more sentient and that it can make its own. It can have its own discussions. It can have its own kind of brain capabilities, I guess. It has its own, we're not there yet. We're not at the generative AI or GAI, as they call it. We're not quite at that level yet, but that's kind of one of the fears. And so looking forward, that could be a realization of something like Skynet. I want to answer your question. How do you set it up to chat with voice and actually talk to ChatGPT? Is there a voice function? That is a good question. I think I'm going to check on my phone here really quick. I can use the speaker function on my phone, and I can say, I can ask it a question on ChatGPT. It will type out a response. Oops. But I don't know if it replies. I don't know if it replies in voice yet, and not on the free version. Maybe I'll look into that. I'm going to check that out. I am. That's a good question too. How can we get AI to do the chat function like that? I'm going to definitely look into that. Yeah, so the other AIs that we've looked into are Gemini, there's Bard, there's a couple other ones. Gemini is the Google version. Yeah, they probably do. You might have to pay for that, and maybe that's why I don't have that function. It would be kind of fun to be able to, have a conversation. Yeah, they have to, because I've seen videos of them talking to each other. I saw a video where somebody had two different phones, and they started having one artificial intelligence talk to the other one, and they went back and let me see if I can just find that real quick. So it does definitely exist. I've just never played around with it. Let's see it. Two AI talking to each other. Let's pull that up right now. Here we go. So this is already from this one's 5 years old already. Let's just take a look here quick. Hopefully they don't flag me on the content, but well, cool. I don't want to play too much. They might flag my video. I don't want to get shut off in the middle of the video. But so that's two Google Assistants talking. It looks like there were some other ones from 12 years ago, two AI talking to each other. So let me, Bing meets ChatGPT. That might be interesting. I think some of the artificial intelligence, like robots run off ChatGPT, so they have a driver for a voice, but I'll have to look into that. Now the question is how to set this up on one's desktop. You've given me homework, and I'm definitely going to take a look at this for next week. Because that is a really interesting. Well, and I would love to know about your what's it called here? What do we got? Your handle, your username. I am for I am. What's the significance? I was thinking the other day that there's simulation theory, and people were saying like, well, what if we are in a simulation? And I go back to I think therefore I am, and that's pretty much all you can say is that I'm real because I know I'm real. Yeah, I will definitely try to set that up for next week to try to figure out how we can set that up on a desktop or even on the mobile and see if I can get to start talking to ChatGPT or talking to another AI bot. So, three things. I love philosophy. I am for I am. See, I thought it was something with philosophy. Very cool. So ChatGPT came up with this own prompt for me to say, tell me a random fact about the Roman Empire. One fun fact about the Roman Empire is that they had a form of early central heating called the hypocaust system. The system involves circulating hot air under the floors and inside the walls of the buildings, providing warmth during the cold Roman winters. And I said, was this also used in Asia? Because I lived in Korea for many years, and I know that Asia also had undul heating, right? And so it said, well, the hypocaust system was a unique feature in the Roman engineering. Similar heating systems were developed independently in regions in Asia. In ancient Korea, just like I thought, a heating system called ondul, which is actually what they still refer to their heating system. They have floor heating in almost all the apartments. And so it actually reduces energy costs. It makes it a lot easier. You don't have to do the ducts. And So undul was used, which also involves circulating hot air under floors in the heating room. So they had this in the temples. If you go to Korea, if you go to the famous temples, you can see, they built the temples of stone floors, and then they'd have fire and coal underneath, and they would keep the floors warm that way. So I think the Roman Empire had it, but I was like, what? Why is the Roman Empire getting credit for this? I know that the Koreans also had developed something similar. So, what was the other one that I had done? Oh, here we go. So, I thought it would be fun for all the Star Wars fans out there. I was like, let's just see what ChatGPT will do when I say create some dialogue between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker where Luke Skywalker failed his math test. So I'm going to read what ChatGPT told me. Darth Vader said, Luke, I sense a disturbance in your academic performance. What troubles you, my son? Luke says, hey, Dad, yeah, about that. I kind of bombed my math test. Darth Vader, deep breath. Explain yourself, Skywalker. You were supposed to excel, not succumb to the dark side of academic failure. Luke says, I know. It's just quadratic equations and trigonometry are like trying to navigate an asteroid field blindfolded. Darth Vader says, your lack of focus disturbs me. The Force should guide you through even the most complex questions. Luke Skywalker says, trust me, I tried, but Yoda's explanations were more cryptic than ever. I couldn't make head or tails of it. Darth says, excuses are the refuge of the weak-minded. You must confront your weakness, not hide behind them. I know. I'll hit the books harder next time, I promise. See that you do, Skywalker. The fate of the galaxy may not rest on your math grades, but your commitment to excellence should never falter. Got it, Dad. Thanks for the prep talk. May the Force be with you in your studies, Skywalker. So I thought that was kind of funny. Let's see, we got some new comments. I argued with ChatGPT about UBI, and that's a universal basic income, arguing that what if one was paid based off of knowledge test meritocracy? Even if it was sports trivia, at least those who learned more things and thought others would earn more than just a basic income. I love Star Wars. Very cool response. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So I tried another one of those with a similar one, and that was, let's see if I can, where was it? Uh-oh. I think, where's the electricity one? The one about electricity. Where is it? Maybe I deleted it. Roman. I did one earlier. If you guys have an idea to run on ChatGPT, I would love it. C3PO and R2D2 or any kind of historical figure. So I wrote one that said, write a conversation of a grandfather and a grandson explaining what it was like to be in the first wave of soldiers on D-Day in World War II at Normandy. This is kind of close to my heart. My grandfather was not in the first wave at Normandy, but he did land at Normandy. Like, I don't know if it was the same day or a couple or week, but that's where he landed, second, third, or fourth wave, something like that. And so he did land at Normandy. I don't think he was part of the first wave of soldiers, but I actually did have a similar conversation when I was a youth about this in high school. I interviewed him for a project. And so the grandfather says, sit down, son. I want to tell you a story about something that happened a long time ago, something that changed the course of history. Okay, Grandpa, what is it? It was June 6, 1944. We called it D-Day, the day Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy during World War II. I was just a young man back then, not much older than you are now. Wow, that must have been scary. Scary doesn't even begin to describe it. We were packed like sardines on those landing craft, headed straight for the unknown. The sea was rough. The sky was filled with smoke and the sound of gunfire. What was going through your mind? I was scared, of course, but I was also determined. We knew what we had to do, what was at stake. We were fighting for freedom, for our way of life, and we were willing to risk it all for it. What was it like when you finally reached the beach? Chaotic, utter chaos. Bullets were flying everywhere. Explosions rocked the ground, and men were falling all around us. But we kept pushing forward, scrambling over the obstacles, dodging enemy fire. How did you keep going? We had each other. We had a band of brothers, united in a common purpose. We knew that if we stuck together, we could accomplish anything, and that's exactly what we did. Well, what happened next? We fought. We fought like hell, inch by inch. We pushed the enemy back until finally we had secured the beachhead. It was a hard-fought victory, but it was just the beginning of a long, bloody campaign. I can't imagine what it must have been like. It's something I'll never forget. War is a terrible thing, son. It takes a heavy toll on those who fight it. But sometimes it's necessary to stand up and fight for what you believe, no matter the cost. Thanks for sharing that with me, Grandpa. I'll never forget it. You're welcome, son. It's important to remember our history, to honor those who came before us and who made the ultimate sacrifice, so that we may never have to forget the price of freedom. I mean, that's written by ChatGPT. Come on. That's pretty good. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that kind of hit home. Let's see this other comment you had. I tried to write a technical paragraph at the college level, then some parameter, but use 8th grade English so most people will understand it. That's interesting. In a past episode or a past show I did, I'm in education. I am, and I have been asking ChatGPT to create like level of instruction. So I did some for like middle school instruction, some for college instruction, and it is pretty good that if you ask it to be like, make me a 6th grade assignment, it will give you something tailored to the 6th grade. I don't know how it knows that. I guess from reading books that are, reading, web posts that are like, this is for the 8th grade, this is for the, college level. But it's pretty good at that. Surprisingly good. Man, I had another one. Maybe I deleted that one. So I had another one, and I was like, write some dialogue of Benjamin Franklin explaining electricity to the King George II. Okay, here we go. I had Napoleon first last time, but I'll change it to King George. Is there a King George II? Ben Franklin says, Your Majesty, allow me to demonstrate the wonders of electricity. Electricity, you say? Pray, enlighten me, Franklin. Franklin, certainly, Your Majesty. Imagine tiny particles called electrons flowing through conductive materials like water or metal. These electrons carry a force we call electricity. Intriguing, but how does one harness this force? Ah, that's where it gets fascinating, Your Majesty. By using conductors and insulators, we can direct the flow of electrons to power devices or create lightning rods to protect buildings from lightning strikes. Is that an inaccuracy? Direct the flow of... No, I guess that's right. Lightning rods, you say, to protect our structures from heaven's fury? Precisely, Your Majesty. By understanding and harnessing electricity, we can wield nature's power to improve our lives and protect our realm. Remarkable, Franklin. Your discoveries may be indeed revolutionized the world. So I kind of like to play around with ChatGPT and throw some curveballs at it. Have some fictional, I guess, scenarios. Try to learn a little bit. What else did it have for me today? It said that if you wanted to create a personal web page, now again, this is one of its prompts. Create a personal web page for me, all in a single file. Ask me 3 questions first, whatever you need to know. Great. Here's the 3 questions. So I got to answer these questions. What's the main purpose of my personal web page? My page is for a podcast about AI. Do you have any specific colors? I like the color blue. Similar to Facebook. Could you provide some information about yourself that you'd like to include on the webpage, such as your bio? My name is Jeff Jones, and I would like to include my email, bookjeffjones@gmail.com. So it has completely writing the code. Look at that thing go. Wow. Wow. Let me know if you need further assistance. So it just developed all the coding I need for a web page. I mean, it's really fun. Okay, let me see the other comments. Education is going to see huge changes soon. AI education will be tailored for the individual student. Then AI will be the motivator, the coach, and the mental health clinician too. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible that those things are true. Like I've been saying from the beginning, is that all the technology that we will see from this new wave of artificial intelligence, I think you still need a human assistant. You still need someone to fact check it. You still need to check the work. You still need to make sure that it's, if you're a doctor and let's say, and I think some of this is already true now, if I update all my symptoms, and, artificial intelligence says, I should, the doctor should prescribe this medication, right? XYZ, we should, for this many days, the doctor would still need to approve that. Like a human still needs to go through it and go review the work. Yes, this looks right. Just to make sure that it didn't miss something or it didn't forget or it didn't, so I guess that's how I feel about it. Like it should, for me, I hope it's just an assistant and people don't. I think that's a danger of anything though. If you were like, well, if the pharmacist says, well, the computer told me to give him this, like you didn't check it. I mean, you're supposed to check that you're not giving, bad drugs to people, right? Oh, I didn't. I just did what the computer told me. So that's where the breakdown, whether it's artificial intelligence or if it's today, let's just say you're working at a fast food restaurant and it says, I want 100 hamburgers. And you make 100 hamburgers and then you give it to the customer and they go, no, I said 10. Like, I didn't want 100. I said 10. Well, whose fault is it? It's not the computer's fault. It's the humans for not going double check. Did you really mean 100 or did you mean 10 or did you put the number in wrong? And so I just think that we're always going to need AI. We're always going to need someone there. But AI radiologist is better than human. Student educator would be superior. This is very true. In fact, I teach English composition, and one of my students recently wrote a paper about how AI radiology is far superior than human eye, and it's finding issues on I don't know what the word is, on on film, on the film that it produces, better than humans are finding it, and that this is really helping radiologists identify maybe cancer or tumors at a higher rate. And so it's really important that we look into that. But yet again, you still need a human to approve it. You still need a human to go, oh yeah, okay. You still need a human to facilitate that. All right, just a second. I apologize. So sorry about that. I am back. I will see. It sees more images and stores them than a doctor see in their career. I agree. I agree. That's such a good point, and especially in those applications where in radiology is a really good example of that. And we were Yeah, fascinating conversation. I agree. I appreciate you being here. I'm glad that you're here. I will be doing this live, same time. I started about an hour and 20 minutes ago. So whatever that is, whatever time zone that is for you, Monday evenings. I will be doing this live at that time slot. So unless, hopefully you can subscribe to the channel. I usually give a little update to say that I'll be going live, and I post the link. So we can continue this conversation Central Time. So it's like, I guess that's like 8 p.m. or something for you. I'm out in Hawaii, so it's only 4:20 p.m. here, and I usually go. I start at like 3 p.m., but that's, yeah, like I said, 8 or 9 p.m. for you, maybe 7. Um, oh, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that. Just I just because you're new and it's just a couple of us here. I have done a podcast in the past about making a murder documentary, and I just recently changed the channel this year, 2024, to just focused on artificial intelligence. So some of the people that have been subscribed in the past are part of the community from Making a Murderer and Wrongful Convictions, and so um, starting from scratch here. Even though I have quite a few subscribers, the content is new time. But my focus is for artificial intelligence. I'm currently working on my dissertation, and my dissertation is, I just got my project plan approval. So I just got approved for my topic, and that is I'm going to research the perceptions of instructional designers, or people who have used ChatGPT to develop courses, to develop online courses or face-to-face courses. So I do a lot of educational based stuff where I'm interested in how we can use these tools to not just save time, but maybe increase outcomes. Yeah, now the hard work begins. Exactly, right. So that's kind of my angle, but I want to learn as much as I can about artificial intelligence and all the aspects. Last week, one of the subscribers, TJ, was here, and we were talking about developing soundtracks and images, and I'm definitely going to look into um, the voice interface with ChatGPT or another one to see if we can start talking to it. That's a pretty cool idea. I'm glad that you recommended that. I'm going to look into that. So maybe next week or the week after, I'll start doing that. That would be a lot of fun. I started writing. I started writing like a little bit of a movie idea. In my another past life, I was a film student, and so that's another kind of passion of mine, is writing scripts and writing stories. So I started doing it, and I think that would be something really fun to do on the show. Like maybe do a little bit, if we can come up with an idea, like a general idea, and then write a little bit on the paper or write a little bit on the story every week and see what we can come up with. It's surprisingly fun. Maybe we'll just do, just a quick, you know, write an introduction to a story about two men learning about AI. I mean, I'm just blown away how fast it goes. So what has it got? 4 paragraphs already? Okay, so all I said was write an introduction to a story about two men learning about AI. In a sprawling I can't even talk. Metropolis of tomorrow, where neon-lit streets intersect with the whispers of technology, two unlikely companions find themselves thrust into a world where humanity and artificial intelligence converge. Meet Alex, a seasoned technophile with a penchant for pushing the boundaries of innovation, and Jake, a pragmatic skeptic who views the rapid advancements of AI with cautious eyes. Their paths collide when an enigmatic AI researcher disappears under suspicious circumstances, leaving behind a trail of cryptic clues and unanswered questions. As Alex and Jake embark on the quest to unravel the mysteries surrounding the elusive scientist's disappearance, they soon find themselves delving deeper into the labyrinth realm of artificial intelligence they never imagined. Armed with intellect, intuition, and a healthy dose of skepticism, the duo navigates through a landscape where machines blur the lines between friend and foe, ally and adversary. Along the way, they encounter a myriad of characters from rogue AI constructs with mind of their own to shadowy corporations vying for control of the digital frontier. As they journey deeper into the hearts of this bizarre world, Alex and Jake must confront their biases, fears, and preconceptions about AI, ultimately forging an unlikely alliance in the quest for truth. But in a world where the lines between reality and simulation grows increasingly blurred, can they uncover the secrets hidden beneath the surface before it's too late? Join Alex and Jake on an electrifying adventure where the boundaries of technology and humanity are tested and the true nature of artificial intelligence is revealed. I mean, I'd probably watch that show. Maybe we can add to this story as we go about Alex and Jake, or we could change the names. We have to talk. I'm studying crowd wisdom versus AI. Why? I'm involved in a social media company that uses incentivizing human behavior to find truth and stop spam. That's interesting. Yeah, we should talk. I would really like to know more about this one. Okay, I'm gonna bookmark that. Last Friday's All In podcast. I am going to check that out. I'm going to subscribe to that channel, All In. Uh-oh, my podcast is called All In. I'm All In AI. Okay, I'll check that one out. Cool. We'll definitely check that out. So, I think that's a pretty cool story. Maybe we'll add a little bit to this story and see what we can come up with. I think it's kind of fun. What could I say? What could we do with Alex and Jake? Where do we find Alex and Jake in the opening? Okay, write dialogue for the opening scene where Alex and Jake first discuss the implications of AI. Alex and Jake sit at a sleek minimalist cafe surrounded by the hum of conversation and the faint whir of espresso machines. Alex taps his finger eagerly on the table, his eyes alight with enthusiasm. Jake, I was reading this article the other day about AI and its potential to revolutionize every aspect of our lives. Jake raises an eyebrow. Oh, here we go again with your techno-utopian visions. I'm not convinced AI is all it's cracked up to be. Hear me out, Jake. Imagine a world where AI isn't just a tool, but a partner, where machines anticipate our needs before we even know them ourselves. Sounds like the plot of a sci-fi dystopian novel ever written. What if it's not just fiction? What if AI has the potential to solve some of humanity's most pressing challenges, from climate change to healthcare? I suppose it's possible, but what about the risks? What happens when we create something we can't control? That's a valid concern, Jake. But I believe that with the right safeguards in place, we can harness the power for good. We just need to approach it with caution and foresight. Well, count me as a skeptic for now, but I'm willing to entertain the possibility. Who knows? Maybe you've convinced me yet. Challenge accepted, my friend. Let's dive deeper into the brave new world of artificial intelligence and seize where it takes us. Interesting. So maybe I'll add to that little story every time we do an episode and see how long it takes us to write a story. I think I have to rewrite a little bit of that. It's a little hokey there, but the more accurate that of a prompt that you give ChatGPT, the better it will come out. So Unless anybody have any questions out there? You have any questions or anything interesting to talk about? Otherwise, we're getting close to the end of the show here, and I'll start wrapping up. I appreciate you guys joining me. We'll be back next. I will be back next Monday at the same time. We'll get to this question right now. How do you detect AI written homework, and how do publishers verify if it's written by human or not AI? So there are some AI detection tools. That was my, okay, there are some AI detection tools I will show you right now. Well, Forbes has one here. Let's go here. So AI detectware software, looks like there's one called Undetectable. I know that Grammarly has it, and which one else? Turnitin, turnitin.com. We'll go to that one. So Turnitin, I don't know how many people are aware of this. Turnitin is a pretty much the gold standard in plagiarism detection. So even before artificial intelligence, you would upload your student or your own work. You could use it as a student or a teacher. You upload your work. Like for my PhD program, it automatically goes to Turnitin, and it compares my work with probably billions of other pieces of writing to see if I've plagiarized or not. But now Turnitin has AI detection. Let me see if we can find really quickly. Maybe it's faster to go like this. Turnitin AI detection. Yeah, faster to just go here. So Turnitin's AI writing detectable now available. You can use this to. I've used it before. I've suspected my students of using artificial intelligence before, not often, but I had one last semester. And actually, I was unable to prove that it was generated by AI. So I kind of let it slide. I did give the student a warning about it. And I said, you know what? I suspected that it was not your work. If you tried to pull something off, you're going to get caught eventually. I think we ran a story a couple weeks ago about the president of Yale, I believe it was just resigned over plagiarism from like 20 years ago. It can catch up to you later, even if you think you've passed it off. It could still catch up to you later. There's a warning that comes with these AI detection tools, and I've read some research that says that AI detection tools are not as accurate as they may seem. And especially with, people who are not, maybe English isn't your first language, it gives false positives. Sometimes it gives false negatives. And so there's a sliding scale of equality when it comes to using AI detection tools that I know for sure that an issue with non-native speakers is that, especially when I learned this, when I lived in Korea, I had students that could barely speak English, but could write at a really high level. And so you might have a student in your class and you say, wow, they really don't seem like they can communicate very effectively in English. But then they turn in their paper and it's like really well written. And you go, I don't believe them. There's just no way. But writing and speaking and listening are three different types of language learning. And so you have to be careful when you use these. Again, the AI detection software is a tool. It's not an end-all be-all. So it might give, it's like, a lie detector test. If you suspect someone's lying and you give them a lie detector test, then it just gives you more evidence. It's not proof. A lie detector test isn't proof. It just gives you evidence, right? And so I don't think you should ever use a detection tool to determine 100% whether you'd have to go yourself and go, I need to go to the source article and I need to see, did they copy and paste? I need to go, where did it? So, that's really the dangers of it. Well, thank you, I am for I am, and thank you, Jack, for joining, and thank you guys who watch this live after it airs. I know a lot of people watch it after it airs. I'll be back on Monday, same time, same channel, for another episode of All in AI with Jeff Jones. I hope you guys enjoy what we have. I have a Discord channel. Maybe I can put the Discord channel in the video as well. I am for I am. If you are on Discord, you can join. I post articles there that I talk about on the show ahead of time. Let's see here. What else? There's always something new that's coming out about artificial intelligence. I'm surprised. A lot of those articles that I talked about today were from today. Like that's how quickly things are developing. Let's see here. We got one more comment. The Star Trek communicator was ahead of its time. It was an AI to allow conversation between different languages. Yeah. So maybe I can bring in an example of that. They have that now, to like high accuracy. They have this. I've seen it on the web, like advertised for language communicators. Like I don't know if it does Klingon yet, but maybe. And their accuracy is surprisingly good. So maybe I'll present that in the coming weeks. Let me see if there's a AI language translator. Just leave myself a note to look into that. Another little story about me, not to talk too much about it. When I lived in South Korea, I actually worked with Google Korea, and I taught them. I was teaching English. But the team at Google Korea that I taught, they were all the Google Translate team. So this one student, he told me that his job was basically chopping up sentences and then translating the chopped up sentence. He's like, I'm a sentence chopper. I'm a chef. So he would like take a sentence, chop it into pieces, translate it, and then feed it to the algorithm. Yeah, I usually do put the Discord channel in the description, and I will put all of the articles that I talked about in the description as well today. So you can check that, or you can look at an old video if you want to join right now. I can grab the I will grab a invite right now. Here is the link if you want to join the Discord. I'll also put it in the description. I'll be back next week to talk about more. So bring your ideas, bring your submissions, bring anything you want to talk about, post it in the Discord or leave it in a comment in one of the videos, and I'll get back to you. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm glad that you joined us. I am for I am, and Jack and everybody else who's out there. I will see you guys next week for more All in AI with Jeff Jones. Have a good one, and we'll see you on the next. Aloha.